And now for something completely different. I don't remember who it was, but somebody requested that I do one of these. So, it's been about 6 months since I've picked up a brush and slapped any paint on a canvas. So, you're not going to be looking at my ugly mug. You're going to be looking at my back and my hands and arms. So, you might not be able to hear quite so well because the microphone's going to be back here and I'm up there. I'll do my best. I'm going to have to reconfigure some things, but anyway, shall we get started? So, we're painting in oils. I have my little palette all loaded out. And let's get started. So, little 2-inch brush. Not the same one you use to paint your house, but this is a bristle brush, boar bristle, hog bristle brush. So we'll show you kind of what I'm doing a little bit here. maybe you can see. I'm just going to pull out a little bit of this blue. And oh, you know what? I forgot a step. It's a good thing I have both of these out there. We got to prime the canvas first. So all I've done here is I've just gessoed this. I've put a base of gray and then a base of white gesso over the top. So it kind of looks a little weird. We got to get our slick 'em on. See, it's been a while. So we'll go ahead and prime up our canvas a little bit. And we'll see how this goes. I'm not promising anything great. And this is kind of using the Bob Ross or Bill Alexander wet on wet technique for painting or for oil painting. Which is based on the old masters called alla prima or all at once. Need a little more paint. Now, what I'm using here is the Bob Ross liquid white. And you can use any medium like that. All it is a very, very thinned down white oil paint. And one thing you'll notice, I'm not going very thick with this at all. In fact, I want just the really, I want just a little bit. As a new painter, you tend to want to go a little heavy. Nah, go light as you can get away with. Hey, you done well. I beat you, dog. And the whole idea here is just to get a thin, even coat. You can still see some of the gray showing through when you see it up close, but that's okay. We don't care. It's fine. Let me drop my little gizmo here down. Hold this thing in the easel a little bit better. All right, I'm just going to set this brush over to the side. We'll use it. Actually, yeah, we'll use it later. Matter of fact, let's do this first. Just an old towel. I don't clean brushes if I can help it until I'm done, because it's messy and it takes time, it's a pain. So just use an old towel. Most of the time, that's good enough. Clean enough. We'll set that bad boy up there. And so I dipped into a little bit of phthalo blue, as you can see, and then just kind of bouncing it out a little bit on my palette. But I don't want a lot of paint here. I want just a little bit of paint, just a little color, and it's gonna mix with this liquid white, and it's gonna do its thing. So we're gonna start with little crisscross strokes. And we're just going to paint in a little sky here. And I put more pressure in the corners because I want it a little darker in the corner. Put a little pressure in the corners because I want it darker in the corners. And then I'm lightening up as I go down, because if you look at a sky, what's above you is darker than what's out in the horizon. So it gives you that sense of depth. I'm just going to smooth some of that out a little bit. Right here. Going to smooth out all the brush strokes there. So we kind of have a little sky going on. And that's as easy as it is to do a sky. Now if we wanted to do some little bit more more defined clouds, we could do that. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's use the filbert brush. Where's my filbert brush? Here's my filbert brush. That's a filbert brush. So what I'm going to do is let's see. Let's dip into just a little bit of this brown here and just a little touch of the black. And we're going to come over here and grab some of the white. And just a little gray color, kind of a brownish gray. Grab a little bit more of that. And we're just mixing these colors right on the brush. And then we'll go up here and we'll just wiggle and jiggle around a little bit. Add a little cloud. I'm gonna just add a little bit more white there and lighten this value up a little bit. Just kind of wiggle and jiggle. And it's gonna pick up some of that blue, and that's okay. We're okay with that. My phone's going crazy. I should have shut it up. And we'll grab a little more of the brown. Come in there and darken it down a little bit. Work on one over here. Maybe there's a big thunderstorm over here, rolling in from somewhere far away. And we're just going to go with some straight white. I'm just going to add a little top on it. And we'll pull out some little wispy clouds. And we'll do the same thing on this guy. We'll add a little white up top. That'll give the illusion that the sun is up above and kind of shining down on the tops of these. And maybe it's just kissing one of these little guys right here. Maybe we got some little stringy guys back in the back there. Maybe they're a little bit lower and just kind of hanging, but they're far off. Wipe my brush off a little bit because I'm going to go a little pure white here. I'm just going to give them a little pop. And it's going to be a little harder to see against the lighter spots, but it's there. Maybe we'll drop a touch of yellow in there just to give it a little bit more pop. Yeah, I don't like that. Too much yellow. So we'll just come back over with the white. Just tone that down. Got to be careful around the blue with the little bit of yellow that we have, because it'll turn green on you in a hurry. We'll come in and we'll add a little bit of that white back in. We'll do that in here. A little bit there. Doesn't look like a whole lot at the moment, but got a little trick. So we're going to come in here and just kind of stir things up a little bit. I'm trying not to touch this top edge where I have that white, because I want that white to kind of stand out. But I'm just using the very corner of the brush, and this is a fairly soft brush. It makes a really nice blend. Soft, soft. Just like that. And that's just, I'm just going real light back and forth across the canvas just to kind of lighten it up. Just kind of smooth everything out. And we have a nice, pretty little sky. And I'm going to wipe my filbert out again, because we're about to go into the mountain building business. So if you look at things, if you look at nature, one of the things you notice, the further things are away, the bluer they are. So I'm gonna dip into just a little bit of black, a little bit of blue. A lot more blue, but just a little bit of black. I just want to darken that down just a little bit, just to dull the tone of the blue down. I don't want a gray, I want a blue. Clean a little bit of that off my brush. Now I'm going to reach over here and grab a bunch of white. Kind of see where my color is. And my dog's going crazy. So we're a little too gray. I don't want that much gray. So I'm going to grab more blue. I want to blue it up. And now I want some white. So I want a really, really pale, dark, pale kind of blue. I don't know what he's fussing about, but he fusses a lot. So there we go. That's kind of the color I want. Now we're going to come over here and maybe there's a little mountain range far, far off in the distance. Way, way far away. We're not going to see too much detail in that because it's so far away. And we're just going to kind of lightly sketch it in. Some of it will probably be covered up, but that's okay. We know it's there. And we're just going to So next thing we need to kind of figure out is where's our light source. So we're going to say our light source is coming from, I'm a right-handed painter, so it's always easier to put the light source on your dominant side. So we'll say the light's coming off over here. So we're going to drop some dark off of these. Darker, I should say, off of these sides where we think the light's not going to strike very much, or where it's going to be shaded. Maybe there's a little valley in there somewhere. We're not worried, again, we're not worried too much about detail or anything. We're just kind of playing with some paints here. All we're doing is just kind of getting a rough idea of what our landscape's going to look like. Maybe that comes down in front of there. But all this is going to be pretty blue back there. Just going to grab some straight white. Because that's far off in the distance. So I'm not too much worried about a whole lot right now. Kind of laying a base color in. We'll come back and throw some highlights and some shadow in maybe on this. But again, I don't think we're going to see too awful much. And we'll just take the old big brush again. And just smooth that out. I'm using a little more pressure on this because I want this to kind of just fade into the very far background. I don't want a lot of hard lines. I don't want a lot of distinct color or anything. I'm just putting it way back there. It's very far away. Miles and miles and miles away. All right. Now we're going to move a little closer. So as we move closer, the blues kind of deteriorate a little bit, and you start to see a little bit more color, a little bit more variation in color. You're still seeing a lot of just darks and lights. So this run we're going to add just a touch more black in there. We still want it kind of blue. Add a touch more blue but we're going to darken that value down. So we're just gonna, again, we're just gonna drop in a few more mountains. Maybe this one's a little more angular here. He just kind of stands. We don't want him perfect, but he's just a little more angular than the rest. And again, we're kind of imagining our light source is kind of coming there, so he's going to be dark. Maybe this guy's going to be pretty dark because he's kind of in this one's shadow. But we're still pretty far back in the distance. Maybe there's another more angular peak coming up off this side. There we go. And of course, then we're gonna just kind of smooth that out. It kind of gives it that hazy look. It's still far away. Now we're gonna move forward again, and this time I'm going dark. So I'm dipping in my blue, dipping in my black pretty heavy. I'm going to grab some red. So there's my black, there's my blue, there's my red. And I'm just going to bring it right here. I want fairly dark color. I have some white on there, it's okay. So now we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and maybe there's a big peak right here. Ooh, he's a big one. Now I want to kind of paint him a little dark. So you can see it's kind of a lavender color. And this is what we call, this is underpainting, is all I'm doing here. I'll leave the top of him kind of bare at the moment. So you can kind of see that I'm running my brush strokes in a way where it kind of is following the lay of the land. And that is intentional. Grab a little more of that dark color and darken in a few of these places, especially on this not so sunny side. We want it pretty dark. And what's he living next to? He got a friend. Yeah, why not? He's got a little friend over here. Not as impressive and tall as that guy, but and we'll pick it up next time.